Should just do two.
Hey, Missy, we're live.
Oh, hi.
What are we going to be talking about here?
We're going to be talking about how to relieve low back pain.
Yeah. So we're going to be covering, some thoughts. Corinne actually popped in a message like she stands at work all day, and I know a number of you guys stand during the day all day long. And, we talk about, death of the desk, get out of your chair. But what about the person who's standing all day? And so there's a number of things that we can do to combat standing all day, because you guys run into a lot of the same or similar problems as people who might be sitting. So, Laura, thank you for...
Hi, Tam Tam.
Thank you for contributing as far as low back pain. What happens when somebody's experiencing low back pain while they're standing all day, or if they're feeling tight hips while they're standing? So we're just going to cover some strategies with that, right?
Yeah, so Tam just logged in, and she's a dance instructor, a hairstylist, a mom of two, someone who stands a lot all day. So death of the desk is not to vilify sitting, it's to help everyone. So even if you stand all day, we should have a lot of tools you guys can utilize to take care of yourself. So, Ryan's going to teach the first one. This is if you stand a lot.
So oftentimes when you're standing, it comes down to just endurance. And I'm actually just going to wear this while I'm talking, so you guys can hear me better. It comes down to endurance.
Hi, Kara.
If you noticed how I'm standing right now, I'm kind of shifting into one hip. This is just your natural tendency for every person. They either shift into one hip because it just feels more comfortable. So what I want you to do right now, if you're watching, is as you're standing here, I just want you to shift your weight into one hip. Hold that for about 5 seconds. And then shift your weight into the other hip. We're going to hold that for about 5 seconds. Now, my question to you is, which feels more comfortable? Which feels more comfortable for you?
My left.
So her standing into her left feels more comfortable. For me, somebody's calling. For me, standing into my right hip feels a little bit more comfortable. All right? None of it's wrong or bad necessarily. It's just different. And all we're trying to do is bring a little bit more awareness. If you're always shifting your weight into one hip, you're going to start to have some sort of imbalance going on. And if you're doing this all day long, and this hip is taking the brunt of the work all day long, kind of looks like I'm dancing.
Corinne!
If your hip is taking the brunt of the work all day long, then as you go to move and navigate the world, you're probably going to start to experience some discomfort and pain. So one strategy for the person who's standing is take notice, be more aware of what hip you're standing into most of the time. Whatever hip you're standing into the most, when you go, oh wait, I'm standing into this hip, adjust and switch sides. Shift into that other hip more. So what will happen is you're starting to create a little bit more balance for yourself, and that's just one strategy.
All right, so I'm going to teach you guys some drills. I always lean into the left. Oh, Tam Tam. And she has some hip issues, so this is going to be really good for you. I'm good. Okay, so one thing you guys are going to do is find your countertop. We're going to rehab your hip socket. Super tall. Lift your right or left leg up. Lobster claw your hand. Hold your pelvis. Internally and externally rotate your femur, not your pelvis. Okay? So Ryan, can you come in and show them?
Sure.
So mine's harder to hold in externally on the out, and Ryan's is in.
Internal.
So we're going to do 3 to 5 circles here, eyes forward, super tall. Do not let that hip move. So, hi Dave. What you guys want to do is if your low back hurts, you want to work on the joint below and the joint above. So right now we're working on the hip socket, where the femur head goes in there. All right, other side. Eyes forward, super tall. lobster claw your hips, your pelvis, Figure out which one is harder to hold. Holy moly, I can barely push my leg in or rotate it in. 3 to 5 circles right here. Eyes forward, super tall. Slow down, slower than you think. And your other glute will be on fire. All right, shake it out.
Okay.
So that's called rehab hip circles. You can do that all day, every day. You can't overdo joint mobility. And Tam says that feels really good. It does feel good. All right, what's Ryan's?
All right, next is, it's coming back to the awareness point. And if you're feeling a lot of discomfort in your low back, my next question is how are you holding your posture? And what I mean by that is we tend to default into sticking the butt out. And when you stick the butt out, that creates that arch in the low back, and it also creates a lot of pressure down here. So we're getting that spine compression down there, and you're basically not even turning on your anterior abs right here anymore, and everything, all the strain, all the stress is going into that lumbar spine. So a good cue, again, is if I'm aware and you're feeling, oh, am I just kind of letting it all hang out? Well, let's just kind of tuck the tailbone a little bit and just bring that pelvis back to neutral. And to counteract that, we send out in our daily recharge, right, we send out pelvis tucks and pelvis tilts all the time. And although it seems like it's kind of a silly looking drill, it's extremely effective because you're mobilizing the pelvis where all those nerves go in there, and it's good for counteracting this Instagram booty posture. So all we're going to do is bend the knees just slightly, and we're going to tuck under and release. And as I'm tucking, I'm going to think about lengthening the crown of my head each time.
So Corinne, when you do these, really make sure you're focused on this one, because you just said you kind of do this when you lean into your desk. So make sure you're focused on that, the posterior tilt.
And so a lot of the trend that we see is...
Hi, Maria.
The trend that we see is that a lot of athletes, and it skews towards females too, that tend to be more so in this position just naturally. So think about that as you're standing more often, and you're going to be able to counteract that.
All right, last one we're going to learn is called Ragdoll. Ho ho! This is Ryan's favorite drill in the whole world. Okay. So eyes forward, super tall. What you guys are going to do is lean. Actually, it's face this way. You're going to lean up and over like a candy cane. Unlock your knees all the way until you can't. You're going to bring your top shoulder forward. Arms heavy, head heavy, about over your belly button. Go all the way through. This is for your lumbar spine. Stack your shoulders all the way to the side, and your head is the very last thing to come up. Okay, so here's side view. We're going to go up and over. He keeps his pelvis tucked, round over the belly button, top shoulder comes forward, arms heavy, head heavy. Beautiful, and he's focused right here in that low back. Then you go to the side, stack the shoulders, eyes forward. Your head's the very last thing to come up. The common error for this is you go up and over like a candy cane, bend the knees, and then you stick your butt out when you come forward. So what you want to do is make sure you keep your hips underneath you. All right. Okay, no one's saying anything. Okay, so we just went over leaning into one hip. See which one you lean into more. Then we did rehab hip circles, pelvic tucks. That's already 4, but Ryan wants to teach you guys one more, and then we did ragdoll. All right, so today's video is specifically for you if you have low back discomfort from standing all day. All right, what's your last one?
Well, just my last strategy to think about is if you're always in this fully extended position all day long, if you can do it, right, if you're not wearing a skirt or you're not in high heels or something at work, can you just grab onto something and just drop down into that squat to kind of create some space and do the exact opposite of your standing position all day? I do that a lot. Like if I've been, like we went to the fair on, was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. We went to the fair on Saturday, walking around all day. I got tired of walking, so I just wanted to drop down into a squat. And if I need to, I can just hold on to something, create a little bit of space, and come back up. It's just a strategy that you can do, and it's just taking you out of the position that you're always in. That's it.
Yeah, honestly, think about it. We were at the fair, and we just dropped down into a squat, like, wherever we can, because it feels so good. And also notate that we just picked a couple drills for you guys, but what I try to think of is if my low back hurts, try to work on everything but that. If I was in a real session with you, I would do a lot of ankles and feet, knees and hips, upper thoracics, your neck, and shoulders to alleviate low back pain. What does it say?
Corinne says I do that in a skirt. I don't give no.
Do it in a skirt. 0. This is how many F's Corinne gives.
Yeah.
All right, so basically just think of everything else you can work on. And if you guys have any questions, we're always here for you. Today's for low back if you're standing all day.
Oh, just something to add too is like in our membership, we send you guys these drills to do on a daily basis. I know Corinne and Tamara are in there. We send this to you on a daily basis. So if you just need a reminder or something to, hey, get out of your desk or get out of the position you're working, Daily Recharge does that for you. So
you
let us know
guys,
if you have any questions.
Hi, Greg. We designed the membership for people to have access to us. So think about like what I cost per hour. Some people do have the luxury to afford us privately, but most people don't. So we really created this membership for you so you can access it anytime you want. It costs less than all your coffees for the week. So that's it. We're available to you. Let us know if you have any questions. Practice these 5 drills today. Notice which hip you're leaning into and drop that squat whenever you can. And we'll see you next time.
All right, guys. Take care.
Bye.